Want to hear about one of the most underrated states the United States has to offer? Keep watching. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs and a video about South Dakota. South Dakota is right here. It's in between North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, boredom, mind-numbing boredom, and Minnesota. They have just under 900,000 residents with about 77,000 square miles of area. South Dakota is ranked 17th in area and 46th in population. In other words, the Mount Rushmore state isn't too crowded. So there's plenty of room for you if you're thinking about calling this place home. Since the 1980 census, they've seen growth every single decade. The 2020 census, it's estimated that they grew by 10%. The census isn't complete yet, but when they finish it, that's what it looks like it's going to be. People are starting to catch on that South Dakota is a great place to live. Let's see why. Number 10, careers. Most people assume South Dakota is a place with no real industries after agriculture, mining, and tourism. Those are strong here, but there's so many other things going on. Manufacturing, information tech, finance, and transportation are all really big in South Dakota. Matter of fact, transportation, the average truck driver salary in South Dakota is $62,000. Now, that's good money, and especially when you consider they have a pretty low cost of living. South Dakota was named number 9 for landing your dream job according to CNBC. It was also ranked 6th for the best state to get a job back in 2019, before the pandemic. Some of the highest paying jobs they have to offer are high in demand right now. Those include accounting and financing, mechanics, specialty trades, nurses, and other healthcare technology people. Yeah, they're looking for you if one of those is your field. And I will say this a few times here. They get some pretty cold winters. That's the biggest knock I think they have. So if you're in one of those jobs and you don't mind cold weather, start packing up. Number 9, high quality of life. South Dakota is a great place to live, and it's a great place for families. In the work-life balance thing, they're always one of the top 10 states for work-life balance. They were ranked the second best state for overall well-being and happiness. Number 2 for the quality of life, and the state philosophy here has always kind of been friendly people, family, and personal fulfillment. That's what their website says. Now, my experience in South Dakota, it's almost like that Southern charm thing made it all the way up there. The people are decent people, 99% of the time. There's always those jerks, but South Dakota seems to have less jerks than a lot of other states. U.S. News ranks them as the 3rd least stressed state, which is great. And they're ranked number 1 in shortest commute time. Yeah, they don't have hardly any traffic. One guy told me, yeah, we don't have traffic in South Dakota. If you're 3 cars back while they're trying to move a forklift across the road, that's traffic in most of South Dakota. Now, I'm sure Sioux Falls and places like that have some traffic, but you get the idea. Number 8, it's less populated. Like I said, they only have a little under 900,000 residents and a lot of land. This is good for a lot of people. Some people it might drive crazy. An example, if you're one of the people that like cities and going out and partying and having crowds and going out to busy restaurants and stuff like that, South Dakota is not the place for you. If you're dating, it might not be the best option either. I follow this one girl on Twitter, and she lives in Sturgis or Spearfish, something like that. But she said where she's from, if you swipe left like 5 or 6 times, you're out of options unless someone's got a 2-hour drive ahead of them. But South Dakota is mostly underdeveloped, which means there's a lot of space between towns and cities. Another plus to this is when you buy property, your home's going to have some land. It's not going to be like someplace in Los Angeles where out your back door you got 6 feet and a fence. There's going to be some area for you to, have some personal freedom. Number 7, a low cost of living. It doesn't cost much to live in South Dakota. Even its cities are well below the national average. Almost any city in the United States that isn't a total disaster with crime and poverty is going to be above the national average. Sioux Falls is the largest city in South Dakota, and it has a cost of living that is actually 10% lower than the national average. That's a great stat, especially when you consider it's not like they don't have good jobs there. They do. They just have a lot of land, not a lot of people, and it's inexpensive. South Dakota is the 5th cheapest state to live in the United States. That's as of 2019. South Dakota's cost of living index is 83.3. That's compared to the national average of 100. That lower cost of living just isn't buying things. It comes with their healthcare is below the national average as far as cost, housing, utilities, and transportation. Number 6, a state of nature. South Dakota is one of those states that the outdoor types flock to. Hiking, camping, just about anything outdoors, including hunting and especially fishing, are huge in this state. South Dakota has miles and miles of unspoiled natural beauty. It's like this outdoor paradise. It has the iconic attractions like Mount Rushmore, the Badlands National Park, the Black Hills, the Missouri River, and tons of trails to explore. This is a weird story, but it kind of shows how sparsely populated and wide open this place is. Back in the 1950s, two girls were on their way to a party. They never showed up, and they were never seen or heard from again. Neither was their car. Flash forward to the late 90s. They found their car in a creek right off the road. There are so few people in this state that they just didn't realize that a foot under the water in this creek was this car with these two girls that had been there for, close to 50 years at this point. I forget the exact number of years, but it was like 40 or 50 years, something like that. It was crazy that there's so few people here and there's so much land that they just didn't know these girls were here. I always thought that was amazing. Anyway, there's almost 13,000 acres of land in the state. That includes 11 national reserves that are all open to the public. One thing you got to do if you visit South Dakota or live in South Dakota, ride the Mickelson Trail from Deadwood to Edgemont. This is a 100-mile trail, which was once like this railroad bed where, the trains used to go. Anyway, it kind of meanders through South Dakota's Black Hills National Forest, and today you could find cyclists, hikers, runners, and snowshoers all along the trail to different parts of the year, obviously. Some of the areas can actually be used by snowmobilers too, but it is beautiful. Number 5, a small town vibe. The entire state has a small town vibe. I'm not even kidding, and that's kind of hard to do. I'm not the first one to say this about South Dakota. I've been there, and it's a real feeling you get if you spend any amount of time there. Obviously, there's no way to measure this or any stat or anything like that. It's just very real. Live in South Dakota for any amount of time, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You will always feel that small town vibe of comfort, community, and friendliness. That's why it's so good for families, too. It's a great state to raise a family. Number 4, it's great for business. Are you tired of dancing for the man? Got an idea for a great business? Do you need a place to start that great business? If you're looking to be your own boss, South Dakota is a great place to start. The environment for small, medium, and large businesses is designed to try and bring in new business to the state. Sort of the exact opposite of what California is doing. Like really, the exact opposite of what California is doing to businesses. CNN Money ranks them as the best state for starting a business. Business Insider in 2018 said they're the number 2 best business tax climate, which is great. And Forbes said Sioux Falls is the 5th best small metro area for business and career. So those are great. On top of that, there's no corporate income tax or business inventory tax. I have no idea what business inventory tax is. I'd probably have to call my tax man, Ed, but I don't even know what it means. But they don't have it. That's even better. It's great when they don't have something that's going to cost you money that you don't even know what it is. Number 3, lower taxes. Taxes aren't really a thing South Dakota likes to deal with. So much so they don't have some of the most irritating taxes. The ones we all hate. South Dakota prides itself on being one of the 9 states that doesn't have a state income tax, which is great. The federal government takes their cut, but South Dakota leaves you alone in that department. They have no inheritance tax along with that, and like I said before, no corporate income tax or business inventory tax. That is so refreshing to hear about things like this. It's like a mythical land to people like myself. I lived in California where they take a good cut of everything, and now I live in Oregon where they take a good cut of everything but sales tax. I dream of not paying state income tax. Instead of moving to Oregon, I really should have just gone 50 miles north and lived in Washington. They're one of the 9 states that don't collect state income tax as well. Number 2, a strong economy. South Dakota has a strong economy, and its future looks even more promising. The economy is mainly based on agricultural production, but forestry, tourism, transportation, finance, and mining have increased in recent years. What does that mean to you, the average Joe just watching this video? Jobs. It means jobs. When a state, country, or city has a strong economy, they have good paying jobs. Here's some of the numbers for you math and economic nerds. South Dakota is rated as one of the only states with almost $3 trillion in bank assets. Its GDP is approximately $49.81 billion. The unemployment rate in Sioux Falls, its largest city, in 2019 was 41% lower than the national average. It's still about that right now, but numbers kind of skewed because of the pandemic. The poverty level in Sioux Falls is 23% lower than the national average, and the unemployment rate for the whole state is currently, here in March of 2021, 2.9%. The U.S. average currently is 6.2%. I should say those are February's numbers, but it's March, so you get the idea. Before we get to number 1, I will leave some other videos about South Dakota and surrounding states in the comment section below. If you're interested, give those a look. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, they got a lot of history. The territory that would become South Dakota was added to the United States in 1803 as part of the Louisiana Purchase. When white settlers arrived and started setting up shop, the local Sioux people weren't happy about the arrangement. They had been promised this land in previous treaties. This is how it worked. It's like someone showing up at your house that you don't know. It's the house you own, and they start telling you that you're going to have to move to a new house someplace else. You're like, okay, dude, not sure who you are, but fine. As long as I don't have to deal with you or your family, I'll move. So you move, and about the time you're getting settled in the new house, his cousin shows up with keys and starts moving stuff in unannounced. As you can imagine, if this happened to you, you and the cousin would be having problems. That's what happened in South Dakota. Nevertheless, the territory was incorporated into the Union on November 2nd, 1889, along with North Dakota. South Dakota has a lot of Native American history with the Sioux and the Cheyenne people. That's just a few of them. There's a whole bunch that populated this area at one point or another. Both France and Spain laid claim to this land at different times. Lewis and Clark rolled through here at one point, and of course, you've got Mount Rushmore and the Crazy Horse Monument. They've got a lot of things historical going on in South Dakota. I've learned a lot over the years just making these videos, and each time I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that happened there. I didn't know Lewis and Clark rolled through there. They actually went straight up the middle of the state while floating on the Missouri River. All right, that's my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. South Dakota's a great state. There's a lot of reasons you might want to move there these days. These are just 10 of them. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.